Shabbat Shalom, Parashat Shelach. Not one of the stellar moments of our national history. Moshe Rabbeinu sends 12 righteous people that stood at the head of their tribes, people that we would have expected to be leaders in the true sense of the word. Oh, of course, not in the modern context. In what we really expect of leaders. And here they go on a unique mission to go scout out the land, prepare for the rest of the people that are eager to enter Eretz Yisrael. And something goes terribly wrong. They come back, they speak horribly of the land, and the nation is punished. And so the 40 years of wandering through the desert begin. It is very difficult to understand what actually went wrong. I would like to offer a perspective, not onto the actual action, but rather a valuable lesson that can be learned through delicate nuances that are in the linguistics of this parsha that are quite unique. Let us start with a unique word that is used in this parsha that actually is familiar to you, both in Hebrew and in English. In fact, it's one of those rare words that are used in both languages. So, if you come to visit Israel, and you want to scout out the land, what is that called? I guess you would be called a tourist. To tour. To tour is a word that is actually taken straight from the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu sends these spies on to a mission. And their mission is V'yaturu et Eretz Canaan. So this touring, this exploration, how do we understand this particular word and by that understand the mission? Onkelos translates the word in a rather peculiar way. He translates the words by saying, Vaya'alalu yat'ar adechnan. Vaya'alalu. Sounds familiar to you? What is the word alal? I remember a month by that name. The month of Elul. The month of Elul is dedicated to deep introspection, taking the opportunity to prepare for the great day of judgment, evaluating your yearly accounts, making sure that you are checking your behavior, reflecting on what you accomplished, what you didn't, setting yourself up for the year to come. This is what the month of Elul is dedicated for. Perhaps this was the true mission that Moshe Rabbeinu was sending these Miraglim for. Their mission was not merely to take a look at the land and to see, well, is it fat or is it thin? Are they in boundaries or not? Those are all technical things. Their real perspective was supposed to be an introspective. Taking a deep look inside themselves and seeing, are they ready to enter into the land? Well, this is exactly where they failed. You see, these leaders of the tribes had it very easy and cushiony in the desert. After all, their life was dedicated solely to studying of Torah. Here they were, living in a total utopian, miraculous environment. The clouds are circling them, the ground is always nicely leveled, their clothes never get dirty, their shoes never wear out, their food is plentiful, always available first thing in the morning, tasting like whatever they wanted it to. As we discussed last week, this was not something that they embraced all eagerly, but nonetheless, this was available. There was a well, a magical well that provided plentiful water. Everything was given to them. All they needed to do was sit and learn. And the method of transmitting the Torah placed them in a unique position in which they, as the leaders of their tribes, were essentially the rebbes, the teachers. They would sit and teach and live as comfortable as they could. But that was supposed to be a preparatory stage. When they go into the land, all they saw was all of the labor that was involved in maintaining a country. They tour the land and they see people, wow, actually have to plow the fields here. They need to plant, they need to grow things, they need to work. It's not going to be a miraculous existence like in the desert. Suddenly they realized, we're going to be out of a job. We might actually have to get to real work. Maybe we're better off staying in the desert for a little longer. We didn't quite master the Torah yet. We'll take our time. My grandfather pointed out that if we look carefully at the words at the beginning of the parsha, we will come across a simple verb which we would assume appears throughout Chumash many, many, many times. Moshe Rabbeinu tells the people as part of their tour, as part of their deep exploration and introspection, to take a hard look at what they see. And the verb that he uses is uritem et haaretz mahi. You should see the land what it is. Uritem, and you shall see. Well, my grandfather pointed out that if we search the entire Torah from cover to cover, we will not find an appearance of this verb in the form of ureitem, and you shall see, only one more time. That's it. There are 2 appearances in the entire Torah from cover to cover. So think for a moment. Where is the second opinion? Uritem, uritem. Wait a minute. This is something that we say every single day, in the morning and in the evening. Wait. It appears in our parsha. It wraps our parsha straight at the end, beginning and end. Yes, when we read about the mitzvah of tzitzis, when we read about that special blue thread that is supposed to run through our tzitzis, the techelet, we say, Ureitem oto. You shall see this thread, it shall remind you of the heavens above. Uzchartem et kol mitzvot Hashem, and you shall remember all the commandments of God. My grandfather pointed out beautifully that both times that this word is used represent dangerous extremes. One could live his entire life seeing nothing more than the aretz. Uritem et haaretz mahi. Well, if they would have fulfilled their mission, they would have understood that their job is not just to look at the physical elements around them, but to understand the spiritual power of the land, to watch how the hand of God is operating around them, and understand that even under the conditions of natural life in a holy land, there is great providence over every moment of our lives. But they were too busy looking down to the ground. Uritem et haaretz, that's all they saw. They never lifted their eyes to look above. But the flip side could be almost as dangerous. Uritem oto creates a utopian environment in which one only looks up to heaven, is so deeply involved in his spiritual pursuit that he forgets to pay attention to the mundane, to the day-to-day challenges of the people around him. Not everyone could reach up and be in a spiritual realm. And even if you are in a spiritual realm, you have an obligation to take care of earthly matters. In fact, this is why you were placed here on this earth. This is why Torah was given to man. And more so, the true challenge of our lives is to be able to look at the mundane, see the earthly matters around us, see the day-to-day life challenges, and watch and observe how the hand of God operates within them. Because God is not just up there in the heavens. He is right here, amongst us, inside our hearts, and all around us in everything that we look at. This takes a great introspection and a great wisdom to be able to balance Uritem et haaretz, Uritem oto. See the earthly matters, see the heavenly matters, and try to find the delicate balance. I said before that this verb appears only twice in the entire Chumash. It is true if we look at it in the male format of uritem, but there is a single occurrence in which this exact verb appears in its female form. Ureiten. That speaks volumes as to who truly had the ability to see the balance between the two. The 2 midwives, Shifra and Puah, who were commanded by the Pharaoh to kill the Jewish babies at birth, risked their lives in order to sustain our people. And there it says that the Pharaoh commanded them, Uri'iten al ha'ovnaim in beinhu v'amitenoto in bati v'chaya. Take a hard look. Oh, they took a hard look, and they understood that true vision is not just looking at the here and now and at the challenge that was put in front of them and their personal danger. They saw deep into the Jewish people and understood that if they fulfilled the Pharaoh's wishes, the Jewish people would not survive. So they risked their own lives to be able to sustain the people, because they knew that Pharaoh or no Pharaoh, the hand of God is operating right now, and the hand of God is what is going to save our people. So our people sinned and were punished, and right away committed with their entire hearts to build a better life in the desert, as we spoke earlier in previous weeks, so the younger generation could have a better vision, so the younger generation could see the balance that we have to strike between our responsibilities to day-to-day life and the recognition of the hands of God in all that we do. Shabbat Shalom. Kol Tuv.